I'm Bella.
Yeah.
I'm 16.
Okay.
I'm Caitlin, I'm 17.
Say
Uh,
that one time you broke up.
17.
You're 17, Caitlin, right?
Yeah.
Caitlin.
Yeah.
Okay.
and so we just wanted to interview you today for Black History Month. Just get to know you more about like all the things you went through and have accomplished and are still accomplishing. And so if you just want to introduce yourself, your name, like your job that you're doing right now, and just maybe like the school you went to, like high school or college.
Well, I am Carole Gist. I was the first Black woman to win Miss USA in 1990. I was a college student at the time, attending Northwood University, and I was in my final year. Actually, it was my third year, but I was going to graduate early with a dual bachelor's. But I took that year off after winning and ended up graduating with my regular classmates. Later. I got my undergrad in business management and marketing and international business. And I also earned two associate degrees in hotel and restaurant management and automotive marketing. So I had aspirations of one day having my own dealership and maybe my own hotel. It was very lofty ones, I should say. I wanted to be the first African American woman to be a general manager of a Ritz-Carlton property, which is a very male dominated industry. And so there were very rarely any people of color, period, let alone a woman. So I think wanting to be the first at something was in my blood. So being the first one to be Miss USA didn't. It felt like, hey, I set out to do, try to be a trailblazer in something, and it just so happened to be the pageant first. So right now, what I do at Wayne State University. This is post having my kids. I have two adult kids. I was a stay-at-home wife and mother for many years. I still did motivational speaking and coaching because I was still an athlete at heart. So I coached volleyball and ran track and field in college. And so I let that carry over into coaching for my children, at least especially my daughter, as she got older, with volleyball and running track. My son liked to play soccer and lacrosse, and I didn't coach those, but I was one of those moms, bring the snacks. So I did do that. So my children are adults now. I have one grandchild, and but I enjoy doing what I do, helping people be the best version of themselves. And just about everything that I've ever done since winning the pageant has been about that, whether it was working with youth, at risk youth, and troubled youth in the Michigan area, trying to help them kind of put things in perspective and help them realize that no matter what cards that life has dealt you, you got to learn how to play the hand you're dealt with, so to speak, make lemonade out of the lemons you have. And just, like, you can't keep blaming anyone for your past, things that were out of your control. But what you do have in control is what you do with what you have right available to you now, and choices and opportunities to make different choices that will set you on a path different from whether either it was your parents or your background or upbringing, whatever that was. That's a choice that you do have the power to make. So that's been a passion. Then that rolled over into skincare, makeup artistry, and then fitness. So I guess whether I was helping you feel or look pretty on the outside, then it was helping you feel pretty physically and helping your health internally, to wanting them to spiritually be well in ministry. I was a children's minister for 12 years, and I still look at even in being in fitness as a ministry for me, because it's more than just reps and sets with weights. It's about transforming not just your body, but strengthening an inner resolve. As you strengthen the outer man, you can strengthen the inner man through the process, going beyond your mental limitations, your physical limitations. And most of those physical limitations often are self imposed, where we don't give ourselves credit for what we are capable of doing or don't think we can. And once you're able to push past those barriers, You learn that you can achieve just about anything that you do put your mind to, you prepare for, and you work hard and stay consistent and dedicated to achieving, and you'll get there, no matter how fast or slow, because it doesn't matter. We always can look back at the fable of the tortoise and the hare. Doesn't matter what if life says you're the sprinter and you're going to win, what it looks like. The tortoise showed us that as long as you run your race and you are steady and consistent and don't take shortcuts, you can still be a winner too. So everything, I've done pageant coaching and helping other young women wanting to realize their dream of a title win, and through youth to Mrs. Division. And that's what I do. I work at Wayne State University, but I also have my own business within my GIST group is Royal Physique Fitness and Royal Physique, Royal Pageant Coaching. So I do have those arms within my family business. We have rental properties. I just do a lot of different things. So I just try to enjoy life and help as many people who I'm able to impact through my reach and my touch. So
That's awesome.
I don't know if I've answered your question, but that is me in a nutshell, so to speak.
Yeah. Our next question is, how do you think the environment where you grew up shaped you into the person you are today?
Well, the environment in which I grew up, well, it definitely made me a survivor. And I'm not saying that it was all bad. There were some happy things that I remember that kept me going when things were bad. The fact that I had experiences being a Girl Scout, and I remember a lot of the fun things we did to earn a badge that were fun, with camping and learning how to tie knots, and just those little survival things that it really helped me to survive mentally when things were their bleakest. I survived being homeless. I've survived molestation, sexual assaults, and I don't think mentally I would have been able to see or grow past that had not been for those earlier positive experiences that taught me how to fight, and also being an athlete. Starting running track very kind of young, and listening to the coach help you push past. You might even get sick or nauseous and say, go over to the side, get it over with, and come back. I'm like, what? I'm supposed to go lay down now, right? No, come back. So that mindset of being able to still get back up after you fall, still get back up after you don't feel great, you lose your lunch, breakfast and dinner, get back up, get back in there, run your race. When you feel like your lungs are on fire and you just don't think you could make your legs move any faster, still being able to finish the race and fighting through those maybe physical discomforts and physical pain taught me how to survive when life was rough, when life was hard, when life was not as I thought it should be, when my parents weren't able to care for me. I was able to survive and take care of myself. Well, I don't say it was me. I mean, I believe it was God helping me and looking out for me when no one else was or could. So definitely made me a resilient. There are times when I think about it now, I go, wow, I don't know how I made it. And so I know it wasn't me alone. I know it was a presence that was there guiding me or protecting me, even when I didn't realize that's what was going on. So yeah, very resilient, strong-willed, a fighter, but very compassionate. I have deep empathy for people who go through things, but I know if you hold on, you'll make it to the other side. If you hold on, you'll see a brighter dawn, a new day. If you hold on, you'll realize that this is temporary and the next chapter comes, the next good thing to give you relief comes. So that's, even in looking at when things were and I thought maybe my life would be better if I wasn't here. having those brief moments, there was always someone or something that would pull me back from those places. And I like to do the same thing for people. I used to have this saying that I share, a smile is free, and a smile can change a person's day. It can change a person's perspective. A smile and a kind word can turn a situation around. So I like to lead with love with anything and everything that I do. And I think that helps me understand people who even are rude or mean or even indifferent or racially biased toward me. I can see past their negative behavior to see their hurt or to see their blindedness, I should say, and I can respond and still in love or in kind and not return evil for evil, so to speak. So that's what life, I guess, did for me. My life growing up did for me. So
Wow.
That's awesome. So the next question we have for you is there a specific Black person from history that inspired you or still inspires you today?
there are so many that are. I mean, my grandmother. I mean, I still had to look within initially, and even my mom, in terms of, in the beginning, I didn't see it. She did lose her way for a while with a bad stint of drug addiction. But fast forward to now being 34 years clean, um, her fight and her resilience, and then to find out the traumas that happened to her as a youth is what led to the drug abuse. And that she had never healed or dealt with that past. So in seeing that, I knew I needed to confront my past in order to not repeat that same cycle, in terms of, dealing with the emotions that we can shove down, push to the side and say, oh, pull up your pants like a big girl and keep on going. It happened to you, it's in the past, it's over with. No, but those emotions are still there. And so I looked to her. I loved Maya Angelou, even Oprah, and not just to be cliche, but having the opportunity to have met her, and just like everyone else, you have heard of her story, and it was just like, wow, to come, what you had to put up with in the broadcast industry to make it, to believe in yourself when others said you don't have the look, you would never make it, you wouldn't have a good show. And it's like, she has the last laugh, of course. But women like her, and I mean, I met Cicely Tyson. It was just so many different people that have inspired me along the way and through in my life, but my early ones were definitely my grandmother, who I didn't get to know long, but the memory of her shared by others is what also continued to feed me as I grew up. And I think she was one of the guiding forces that in the back of my mind, I'm thinking she's like my guardian angel in heaven. Would my actions make her proud? So I had that as a basis for, like, don't cut up, don't act up in school, don't, do wrong. Like, she can see you. And so I always wanted to make her proud, even though she wasn't around, wasn't living. I just, like, she's up there, she's going to see me act up fool if I act up. So I'm not going to do that. That was mine. And then, okay, Michelle Obama. I mean, to this day, her power, her strength, her grace, her poise. I would say she's one of my modern day. And if you want, pick one for today and then one from the past, there you have it. Those are some wonderful role models for me that I want to make, that I want to continue to strive to make them proud and to make my family and myself proud.
Yeah, they're all amazing people. Obviously, I don't know your family, but I assume they're amazing too. Did you receive any criticism about becoming the first Black Miss USA?
Yes, I did. The pageant organization was very good at keeping me protected from a lot of the hate mail that might have come through, because I won before email and before social media, right? So it couldn't get to me as easily. They had to go through snail mail, faxes, and calls. So they did a really good job, but there were people who sent hate mail, and there were people who made calls, who came out, who even protested a little. And, there were some who just believed that a blue-eyed blonde was the ideal image of beauty, and anything contrary to that was ridiculous and shameful. That like, how could they vote you, in a position of one of the most beautiful women in the world, kind of thing. And that was their remark. And I said, well, beauty comes in all shades. That was the only thing I would really say coming back. I'm like, and in the beginning, I would kind of sheepishly or bashfully say that. But then I, over time, got more bolder with saying beauty comes in many shades, heights, sizes, eye colors, because beauty is first from the heart, and then I think it radiates out. So as long as we all have red blood, I don't see I don't see why there has to be a distinction or a line or an idea of what's the most beautiful. So I'm like, I bleed red like you. I'm human like you. I have dreams and goals and aspirations like you. Why do you have to be so hateful? It was always my question. But you can't change other people, but you can change how you respond. And then you can pray for them that they may see the error of their ways. And so that's pretty much how I had to handle it. Is I didn't necessarily look at the person and like want to hate them, because I don't have hate in my heart. It's just, I can be upset, but I don't hate. And the empathy still would rise up because somebody taught them to hate. Something happened to them that caused them to hate. Somewhere they were deceived into believing that they were superior, and that, and even in that, only one aspect of the Caucasian race is the most superior: blue eyes and blonde hair. So you had a whole set of people who had this erroneous line of thinking that, either I can choose to respond to their hate with hate, or just pray for them. And that's, for me, that's what I have to do. I mean, I will speak my truth, but I'll speak my truth in love. And I'm not going to argue with anyone who doesn't even have an open heart or mind to see. That's something that you just literally, I have to put it in the hands of someone else who has the greater power to change a heart. I don't have the power to change a heart. All I can do is love, and God is love. So my ultimate goal is to try to emulate that in just about everything that I do, really.
That's beautiful. I love it. So I think relating to that question, what is a bigger or the biggest misconception or stereotypes do you or other people in the Black community face in the modeling, fashion, and beauty industry?
I don't know if I can answer. I don't know what the stereotypes are. For me, I've been modeling since I was 12, and I will say, before my mother went off on a couple year drug down that path, she saw enough to want to help encourage me about my height. So that's why she got me into modeling. I had gone to a model fair, and I had won this little model fair contest, which afforded me a scholarship to a modeling school. Graduated from the modeling school immediately, was working, actually before I graduated, was working and being paid for fashion shows. But I also began working for them, teaching little kids, the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds, who would do, because we would often have little kids in the fashion shows as well. So teaching them how to walk and to pose and to turn and, to do well on the runway. And I did that, and I just boosted my confidence so much the very first check that I got after. So anybody who wanted to tease me about being tall, it didn't matter anymore. I was like, hey, I got paid for being tall. How about that? So she saw that to help build my confidence in being tall and to love how God made me. And because that was most of the things that I was teased about, I can't change. I can't change my shade, my color. I can't change how tall I am without expensive surgery. I can't, a painful, expensive surgery. I can't change my gender. I mean, you know, in my mind, that's what I was thinking. I can't change. If I was born female, I'm born female. I'm Black, I'm tall. I mean, these are things. And even with being Black, I'm a light skinned Black person. So I experience sometimes more colorism within the Black community than I did racism outside of my community, ironically enough. Um, so, you know, I would get teased and called Chinese banana. Like, what are you? You know, my mom would put my hair in these tight ponytails and it would pull my eyes back like this. And they were like, what are you, Asian? And I'm like, no, I got two Black parents. I don't know what to tell you. So, and they want to tease me about things that I can't change. So I'm always encouraging. It's like how you are, love the skin you're in. Polish your intellect, polish your speech, polish your presentation, polish you as a person, but you don't change your own. The polishing is only enhancing. It's like silver is silver, even if it's a little tarnished, right? But when you polish it, you shine it up, it glows. So it sparkles, you know, has shine. So I'm not changing it. It's still silver. So, you know, working on yourself doesn't mean that you're trying to change into being something you're not, just learning to love the skin you're in. And that's the lesson I had to learn first before I could help encourage other people to do the same, because I was trying to change. I was trying to tan. I was trying to straighten my hair and do different things that would be accepted among more white people, which will make them more comfortable. But now we have the whole topic about natural hair and that being an issue in the workplace and fighting to be able to embrace your natural state, you know, without it being looked at as non-professional. And so just those type of criticism, that's the best advice that I would ever be able to give someone is you have to love you and be the best you can be, because one, you can't do any, no one else can do you better. So being the best you can offer is going to put make your life more fulfilling, because it's nothing, it'll be shallow if you succeed or do well pretending. You know, putting on a facade or being something or someone else, trying to be what you think someone else wants, because you're not going to please everybody all the time anyway. So it's always just easier, less stressful to be you and be you with grace and pride and embrace it. So that's all. That's all I have. Did I answer your question? I don't know.
Yeah. This one's also kind of like related to that last one. Was there anything you felt limited to because of your race, and how have those events affected your life?
There have been a couple moments where I thought I would have gone farther had I been a white woman. But for those were limited. I mean, those are far and few between, because I'm not. And so to think if I was, this could be different. The what if scenario can sometimes be a dangerous path to go down. So again, I'm just going to focus on being the best Carole I can be. And I won't allow myself to say that, use it as an excuse or a crutch to say that's why I didn't do well. That's why I didn't get that promotion. It has happened to me, or a younger. So, I mean, you can even now that I'm older, I'm even dealing with age. discrimination. So a younger white woman got the job that I thought I was very qualified for. And they gave it to her. And so I'm like, okay, my attitude is, I will say this, what God has for me is for me, and no man can stop it or take it away. So I didn't get upset. I paused for that moment. I was like, dang, it kind of hurt. It kind of stung because in my side, I knew why, but then I was like, that's okay. I said, God is still God. I'm still blessed. And I'm move on. The next door, the door that's for me, can't nobody take it from me. So I said, that must not be what he has for me right now. And what can I learn? What can I take away? How can I improve? And going forward to be better. So that's all. And that's something that happened very recent. So I can just, and this is how I am. I have to see that person, I speak, and I have to, smile. I'm genuinely happy that they got a promotion and they moved on. And I was like, okay, my time will be next time. But is it enough to make me want to leave? No. It's just sometimes, some things you accept and you move on, because I am, above all else, I have to protect my peace. You have to protect your peace. And even as a young person, I would tell you, pursue peace when you have a peace that, like, you don't have to doubt, you don't have to worry, you don't have to wonder. It's like, there's just this calm. I almost want to say, if you don't feel anything, that's peace. That's peace right there. If you feel angst and like, and feel this, maybe don't go down that route, because that price, is it worth the cost to keep fighting through that feeling, when that could be an inner nudging in your gut telling you, yeah, that's not for you. Turn and go this way, or don't go down that path, So when we override it, then we get stuck with the consequences. So if you're willing to pay the cost and deal with the consequences, override that feeling. But always pursue peace. Pursue peace. It's the best way to live.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I love everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I agree so much. I love it. So I think the next question we have is, what does it mean for you to be part of the Black community?
Oh, well, I mean, it is who I am. It's like asking me, what does it feel to be female? I mean, I just am. I have moments of pride. I have moments of frustration. Pride when I see people work hard and rise above and help others do the same and continue to give back and add to our community positively and lovingly, and teach others to repeat the same cycle. Learn, grow, succeed, reach back, give, learn, grow, succeed, reach back, give, and continue a cycle. Because no man is an island. And, it hurts when I see people, quote unquote, make it, and they like, wow, I pulled myself up my bootstraps. They can get their own. And I'm like, you forgot you probably had some help along the way. I'm like, how could you forget about other people mentoring or giving back in the community? Or and some of my frustrating parts are when I see us not doing that. I'm very frustrated when I see us go out and we want to chase and pursue what other people have. And once we achieve that success, we don't think about going back to where we grew up. We don't think about going back and helping or volunteering our time at maybe a community center or after school programs. We take our kids, put them in the suburban schools, private schools, and public schools continue to go down because we are like running away from it. But I think if we stay in and fight and force them to improve the conditions and fairly spread the government, the federal and state dollars where properly, and not just sending more to the suburban schools while the inner city schools get less, so that there's an equality there. We have to stand up and fight instead of, I took my kids and I put them somewhere else, that type of thing. That doesn't help change it for the people and those who have to still stay in that community. That's that's a part of my frustration. But to see us thrive, though, I'm always proud. We rise. They try to knock us down. They try to snuff us out. They try to set up a system that causes us to kill ourselves and give up on our dreams, but we still keep coming back. We still keep coming back. So, we have a strong community and a strong sense of pride. We don't always have the healthiest sense of history, but we do have a strong sense of pride. So sometimes that's why history ends up repeating itself, because we don't always have a strong sense of history. It's like, that didn't work the last 2 times, and or this is what did work, so why are you trying to change it? But yeah, we are resilient, and I love it when we come together peacefully and embrace everyone, because I would say we're probably one of the most forgiving races that out there. That we can continue to love everyone. I mean, no matter what race, and be accepting. I think we're one of the more accepting races too, because we have been discriminated against on our looks, something that's solely out of our control again, and to be accepting of anyone who's different, because we know what it's like to be discriminated for being different. So a loving, caring, resourceful, and enduring community, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And those same qualities are some of the qualities I was telling you what growing up in my community brought for me. Resiliency and a toughness, but yet a softness at the same time. Again, being able to empathize with the pain of other people, but still have hope for a brighter future, and look forward to seeing a different day.
Melanie to Emily.
Seeing a different day. Sorry.
Can you come back to my office?
Seeing a different day in our future, where we can. I mean, cliche or not, I want us to walk hand in hand singing Kumbaya. I don't know, just I can look at you and love you just the same, no matter what shade, what nationality, what gender, whatever you believe, even if it's different from mine. I don't have to look at you with hate or disdain or not like you because you think different. To me, that doesn't even make sense, but I look forward to a day when we can have that, and that you guys can experience that. Your generation can experience more years in peace than in turmoil or political or social and racial unrest.
Yeah, that's amazing. Kind of relating like what you said back when you were talking about the schools and stuff, how do you think schools have dealt with teaching kids about racism in the past? And how do you think they should improve about teaching about racism in the future?
That is a loaded
it's a big one, kind of, yes.
Ooh, first off, telling like the whole truth, not their version of the truth. Oh my goodness. But yeah, American history should include Black history in it. I mean, there is no America without the African. I'm sorry. Not the one we know, not the prosperous one that they were able to create generational wealth from and industry from. So to give the African inventors and the Black inventors their proper place when they're talking about great inventions of our day. It needs to be brought up that even in Thomas Edison, when he was working on the light bulb, he didn't do it by himself. The black man in there that was working with the different filaments gave him that filament to make that light bulb. But, because that way, white kids will see, oh, they do contribute. You don't grow up with one biased view that, our ancestors did all of this, but not alone. And a lot of times, because we weren't viewed as a whole person, a human, the inventions they took. Now today you can get a patent and you can take somebody to court. They couldn't take nobody to court and fight for it. So they invent something, master takes it, and they move on and they make all the money from it, right? So I mean, just being fair and revamping the books, the textbooks, and making them more accurate for you to learn and to see. So you're not even depicting the Native Americans the way that they did. Those are not all truths, So giving a true account of the history, that won't make them look as good. Sorry. It may not make them look as good because, there's the ugly side to it. But the truth is what will set everyone free. You knowing the truth and the generations to come knowing the truth will have a healthier outlook on all other people and not thinking of, buying into and perpetuating that the white race was a more supreme or superior or smarter race and everyone else was savages. No, that wasn't the case. Africa has some very civilized, very advanced ecological, archaeological, and science and math driven things going on before they came and took the slaves. Egypt. I mean, you can go back in time, and if you really look at them, like the Egyptians were brown people. They weren't fair. They weren't pale. And so I'm like, just being truthful and honest with depiction of history is one, because that will help open up the eyes to be accepting of all. Right. So, and then everyone gets some fair credit and honorable and truthful credit to the creation or the building of America. Then we can go forward. It's hard when you still want to whitewash it, so to speak, cover over it and claim all the benefits for the achievements. And then you have a hurt people going, yeah, well, what about our part? We did a part too. So you got a group of people feeling shamed or shunned and overlooked. And then another were like, y'all didn't do nothing. Y'all just take it. Stop talking about slavery. Slavery was 400 years ago. You ain't slaves anymore. And I'm like, it's the mental slavery that's still in existence. And the way the government has set up systems with the education and communities and, it's institutionalized and industrialized slavery, basically, that still exists due to that fact. There's a mental slavery as well as a socioeconomic slavery that is in place. And so no one's necessarily whipping you and beating you into submission with chains, but it is a mental abuse, a mental abuse and a breakdown in that where you don't feel like you can, and you have to override all of these obstacles. And when you have dealt with a deck with dealt a hand of cards that's a winning hand, and then you got somebody else who always keeps getting the crappy cards all the time, every time. And yes, I want to tell you, keep playing the hand you're dealt with. It gets frustrating though. It'd be nice to sometimes get a couple good aces and some kings and some queens up in that hand over there. So, and it's going to continue. It's not going to be even us. It has to come from more white support to insist on fairness that way, speaking up and demanding that the accurate, in the textbooks, the accurate depictions are taught to the children. So that they will at least have a different mindset to go moving forward on how to make policy, how to create solutions, how to unify versus divide. Putting all the right information in your minds and your spirits, you guys will do a whole lot more good with it when you have the whole truth. And making a difference in our next generation and the next achievements and the next development and progressions in education and in communities. It's going to come from you guys. I really believe that with my heart, because sometimes you can't teach the old dogs any new tricks. So we need y'all young people to take over. So it's going to take policy change and maybe some protests, peaceful protests, like even student sit-ins. Like, we want accurate textbooks, we want updated textbooks, truthful textbooks. Stop lying to us. Stop telling us half truths, and then fight for the equality. In your classrooms, in your states, amongst with the federal dollars for schools. So in different school districts, the schools with fewer students but with a higher socioeconomic earning component typically get more of the federal dollars than the schools that have more students but a lower socioeconomic earning power. And so that kind of keeps them in that same situation because they don't have the same tools to work with. So who's going to be bold enough and brave enough to help break that cycle?
Yeah.
That's the only way we're going to get change.
Yeah. Okay, my next question is, what do you think about when you hear Black History Month, or what do you do for Black History Month?
Well, in my own family, like even from my mom to my children and to her, to her other grandchildren, she always makes sure that we look over, read about, find, because in school there were only a certain set of Black people that they told us about, and there were so many more. So there's a list of 100 Black contributors to society, African American contributors to society. And so they'll talk about, the gas mask and the windshield wiper and these different Black people that, contributed to this traffic light and the lawnmower even. I mean, it's like just different things. It's like, so kids are like, really? I didn't know that. So we kind of make ssure we pass that on. So I know she did it for me and I did it for my kids. And now we're doing it for I have one grandson. So, but I'm doing it for all of the nieces and nephews of her other grandchildren. And we talk about it and we remind ourselves of the different things. And then we are like charged with adding like to that list, somebody that's more present day. And African American first or Black first. I personally like to say Black because I'm like 5 generations away from Africa, basically 4 generations away from Africa. So I was born here and I should just be considered an American. And I believe that for anybody. I don't think anybody should have to be called Chinese Americans, Arab American or anything like that if they're 2 or 3 generations away from that being immigrants, right? So their parents might be that, but them and their kids, they should just be American. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I'm like, we all bleed red. So we all live here. We were born here. Why are we not just Americans? Why do I have to label it? But, for that sake, I just say I'm a Black American. Or if you ask me my nationality, I'm Black. I'm American, but I'm Black. And versus saying African American, because quite as frankly, the continent, those who are actually from Africa, think we Americans is lazy and they don't like us a whole heck of a lot. So I felt like I don't have a home either way I go. I tried to go back to Africa. They were like, you here to visit? Going back to America. Anyway, that's my own little side joke. But that's the, just embracing who you are and loving who you are and calling yourself American. But I think the most American thing is that, everybody can feel the love and not that it's only a special group of people who are deserving of being called an American and not being a sub-labeled American. So.
Yeah.
They don't call you a white American, do they? Right? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Why I gotta be African American? So anyway, that's my whole little dissertation on that. So
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Our last question we have for you is, as two white girls, how can we be better allies to the Black community and create a more inclusive, understanding community?
okay. I want to go back to the last question because you asked about one for Black History Month. So I just want to finish that up and then I'll come back to that one.
All right.
So the other thing about it, though, we try to make the most of it by doing that and reminding ourselves of great inventors and African Black firsts, like the first Black female astronaut, like the first vice president, a woman of color, just different things like that, and helping to build a sense of pride in the younger generation to know that it is possible for you to achieve higher than a mindset of what someone else would say. You can only go so far in life. You don't have to look forward to a job maybe of just working at flipping burgers for $12 to $15 an hour. You can have a career. You can do a first. I used to say you don't have to think you have to be an athlete to make it, or you don't have to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer to be considered successful. To me, but for me, instilling in my those who I have a voice or impact on is learning how to find what you love, what you're passionate about doing, and making a living doing it. To me, that's the ultimate level of being success. So if you're able to do that, you don't have to try to fit into some ideal of what success will look like or is, or what are your only options to even make it. So that's that. Sometimes their window of thinking what they can succeed at is very small. So exposure to a multitude of different things in the arts and in an industry is a must. And sometimes in the inner city, they are not. All they see is the athlete, and they think that the sport is what's going to get them. They're going to try to be a professional athlete, and that's not everybody's going to be able to do that. But and then they think, well, I'm not going to have enough money to make it to be a doctor or lawyer, or I'm not smart enough, or they're looking at where they go to school and they're frustrated with the system because it's not set up for them to succeed. And some of them don't know how to fight yet to get what they need. So, there's such thing as a fight or flight syndrome that we are born with, the fight or flight. And if you're not taught how to be resilient and to fight, not in a negative way, but to mentally fight for what you need, you sometimes will just buy into a limited view of what you're able to choose from to succeed. And Black History Month, I'm glad we have it, but at the same time, I'm saddened that we have to be relegated to a month, because our history permeates so much of America. It shouldn't. I mean, if it's taught right in school, there is no need to have a Black History Month.
Yeah.
So that's my sting on that Black History Month, though. We want to make them. I'm taking the lemons and trying to make lemonade by doing something positive to help spur a pride and inspiration to do greater and bigger things beyond the limitations you may have or the structure or the community that you live in. But at the same time, I wish we didn't have it. And I've heard other people say it should be Black History Year, or we need more than a month. I mean, because our contributions are woven so much into the American fabric that we should not be kind of trying to put us in a box to relegate us to a month. That's my only thing. So that's that.
And the
now,
shortest month of the year.
Huh?
I said, and the shortest month of the year.
Thank you. We said, dang, we can't even get a 31-day month.
Wow.
So that's my 2 cents on that. Now, as to what you guys can do, I've already kind of said it. It's like being vocal. If you have, if you see things happening in your school, and if you have, there's Black kids or Indian kids or anybody, but especially Black kids in your school, and you see a teacher treat somebody different, Like, that's not right. I mean, speak up. It is having the mindset, well, it didn't happen to me. Oh, I feel for them. Dang, they got to struggle through that. But thinking it, but not doing anything. So even if it's talking to your parent about it, like I saw this and I'm not sure what to do with it, Mom, but it looked like, I mean, I did the same thing. Or when you have concrete proof, imagine, but just the scenario, say you and a friend, black friend, did a project together, and it was good. It was like yours. You got an A and they gave her a C. Now, if you saw something as grievous and blatant as that, you definitely should speak up and go through the channels to try to get justice for your friend. Not necessarily you going to the teacher first, but talking to your parent first to find out how you should handle it, how you should go about it. Should you talk to an administrator? Should you try to go to the teacher? I don't know if I should go by myself to talk to the teacher, but should you talk to their parents? Should your parent and her parent get together? The bottom line is to take action, is to find a way to take action so that you let them know, we see you, we watch you too. And we're not going to stand for you, grading someone harder or not giving them the same fair chance. I had my phone out and you just told me to put away. She had her phone out and you took it. When you see blatant difference in treatment, speak up. Subtle things. You find ways of, whether it's the student council, if student council president, whatever on the school, that you can come to have a rally and talking about diversity training, because sometimes teachers need some diversity training, but students may need diversity training too, because based on how you've grown up and how you've been conditioned, you may do things you don't recognize are insensitive. Your heart is not to be insensitive, but that action you now know has hurt someone else, or they see that as insensitive, and now you're aware of it. Are you going to defend it, or are you going to try to change it? Because I've heard someone like, oh, well, I don't treat anybody racist. But when you've seen racism going right in front of your eyes and you didn't say anything about it, you're complicit. That means your lack of saying something, nothing, that that's not right, means you give them permission to keep doing it. So don't stand by silently. When you can say something with respect, because I would never, I'm not of the, having to be violent and breaking things or anything like that. And I don't want you to get in trouble in the process of standing up, but that's what it's going to take. It's going to take some more white students, white parents, white administrators actually standing up for the brown and black people who have been crying about the treatment, but being unheard. They'll bring it up, but then it gets swept away or dismissed. So when now there's greater numbers, when it's not just them, but it's you guys with them. And the more of you stand with them when they have a grievance, the quicker resolve and change will come. I will say that. It's going to take out. We even witnessed it in these last few riots. It was the most, even in the civil rights in the 1960s, there were plenty of white people and ministers from all different walks who came and marched with them, but nowhere near the numbers were this last with George Floyd. Nowhere near the same number, so the more that they came, that's how we saw some change, some adjustments a little better. And they're crying out when they saw with their own eyes the injustice not punished. When they went free, and they're like, what? Okay, yeah, that ain't right. Had it been a white person and a black person did that to that, they wouldn't have had their job. They probably would have been dead somewhere already. What happened at the Capitol, if it had been black people storming there, they wouldn't have made it inside to be going through nobody's desk. Are you kidding me? They would have had the dogs, the hoses, and everything else out. So the world is watching and they see how people are treated different. So to the best of your ability, try not to treat them different. Hear their grievances and don't dismiss them. If you see wrong, speak up and call it out. Shine a light on it, I should say. Shine a light on it. The more lights that shine, that, more illumination on wrong and hate and discrimination that we can shine a light on, the greater that it can be changed, because it's exposed, and anything exposed either has to find a way to hide or it has to adjust and change. So
it's amazing.
just don't think it's gonna be y'all two to take it on, but the more people you can
It'll
recruit,
take a
the
lot
better.
of people.
But I love your heart for even asking that question, because that is a big, huge change. And the fact that you're wanting to, that means at least you'll be proactive in trying to do things and take steps to help to be different and to do better. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank
I
you.
learned a lot about you and just everything that you've gone through and basically like your life. It was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
If you ever need anything again, or you want to interview again, or we can. Boop, boop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful, blessed afternoon. Okay.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.